This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
I'm Roby Brock. Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. Here are your top stories of the day. Senator John Bozeman says Republicans in the Senate are anxious to move forward with President Trump's nominees for cabinet appointments, and that Democrats have been slowing down the process because it's one of the few tools they have as the minority party. He defended his colleague, Senator Jeff Sessions, who is Trump's pick for Attorney General. In an interview with Talk Business and Politics, Bozeman said Sessions is not a perfect individual, but claims that he's a racist are totally false. Catch more of Bozeman's interview this weekend on Talk Business and Politics. Governor Asa Hutchinson signed into law his proposed change for funding higher education institutions. The new formula in part would reward colleges and universities for turning out graduates versus enrolling students. The Arkansas Higher Education Coordinating Board will still have to approve the funding formula, most likely at its April meeting. And Fort Smith-based trucking giant ArcBest posted profits of $18.6 million in 2016, but that was down from $44.8 million in the previous year. The transportation and logistics company saw revenues increase slightly for the year, however, from $2.6 billion to $2.7 billion. In part, ArcBest saw lower profits due to restructuring charges and what it's described as a challenging freight environment. And you can keep up with those headlines each and every day at our website at talkbusiness.net. When we come back, we'll talk Tyson Foods with Michael Tilley, executive editor for Talk Business and Politics. We're back right after this.
Arkansas Electric Cooperative Corporation provides electric energy across 2/3 of Arkansas. This is an exciting time in our energy history, with incredible progress being made in renewable energy and storage technologies. As our energy portfolio continues to diversify, we'll maintain an all-the-above strategy to provide reliable and affordable electricity. Ever since the first light bulbs were placed in our members' homes, the electric cooperatives have been the solutions provider for our members, and we want to continue that well into the future.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did.
Time now to talk Tyson Foods. I'm joined by Talk Business and Politics executive editor Michael Tilley. Michael, let's talk about Tyson Foods reported their first quarter earnings earlier this week. They had a big quarter. Tell me what went well for them. How big was it?
Well, it was big, and fast start is correct. Their beef and chicken segments did very well. Pork segments did well. Prepared foods is a little bit of a surprise. Talk about that a little bit later. But it went so well that they raised the top end of their full year earnings guidance to $5.05 a share. That's up from a range of about $4.85 a share before the quarter. So the markets like that. Their per share earnings for the quarter were $1.59, which totally blew away the consensus estimate of $1.26. So Tyson Foods is off, as we've said, off to a good start, and they'll have some expectations going forward, but I'm sure we'll talk about that in a second.
Well, with the good always comes the bad. There were some warning signs in the earnings report. Can you tell me what Tyson Foods may be worried about?
Yep. So there are problems in China and India. Those are minor. They expect some losses there. And one of the things that investors were concerned about was some of their flat sales projections. And part of that is just a supply and demand issue with protein. There's just a lot of beef, a lot of chicken, a lot of pork on the market, so that has somewhat suppressed the average per unit price of some of those products. And the other issue is, and this is really not a negative, but the prepared foods, they're still making a lot of investments, a lot of marketing on that, what used to be the Hillshire brands. So their prepared foods didn't do as well, but Tyson says they're really setting that up for future gains going forward.
Well, Tom Hayes takes over as CEO in this first quarter from Donnie Smith, who is leaving Tyson Foods in very good shape. Tell me, what might Tom Hayes do to grow the company? Where does it go from here?
Well, Tom Hayes, I'm not sure I envy Tom Hayes. I mean, he comes in with a pretty high bar. I mean, it's almost like After what Donnie Smith did with the company, getting it on track, Tom Hayes is almost like having to replace a Tom Brady at the New England Patriots. But I think he's off to a good start. Everyone likes him. He comes from the prepared food brand side of the business, which Tyson again says is going to lead the way at some point. We are watching him. You know, the last time a non-Tyson veteran came in to Tyson Foods, it didn't go so well. But I think everybody has high hopes for Mr. Hayes, but he certainly has a high bar to try to reach, some high expectations to meet.
All right, he's Michael Tilley with Talk Business and Politics. As always, thanks. When we come back from this word from our sponsors, we will talk with Representative Rick Crawford. What does he think of the new Agriculture Secretary pick? We'll find out right after this.
Circuits turn on the lights by making a connection, by closing the loop. At Entergy, we believe our economy is circular too. What you put in comes back. So we invest billions in new infrastructure, which helps attract new industry, which helps create new jobs. We partner with local communities to electrify the economy. And together, we power life. Entergy.
When was the last time you felt free? It's time to uncover that feeling again with the compassion of a cross and shield, accepted by over 90% of doctors and specialists, and the power of a card that opens doors in all 50 states, giving you the freedom to love, to dream, to dance like no one is watching. Arkansas Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Live fearless.
Well, about middle of last week, I caught up with Representative Rick Crawford of Jonesboro. He has been in Washington, D.C. working on a variety of issues. Our conversation turned to the new Agriculture Secretary pick by President Donald Trump. He is former Governor Sonny Perdue. Why does Representative Crawford think that Governor Perdue is the best choice for America? You and I had talked a few weeks ago about what was then a vacancy in the Agriculture Secretary position. Former Georgia Governor Sonny Perdue has now been selected for that post there. Tell me what you know about him and what do you think about that pick?
Well, I will tell you this. I'm actually very pleased that we have a Southerner at the table, and I think that's going to help provide a geographic balance that has been lacking in agriculture. Certainly in policy development, for as long as I can remember, we're just strictly outnumbered. And we've seen tweets from members from up north that they wanted somebody from the Midwest, and you know, they've had somebody from the Midwest for the last 24 years. And I think it was a good pick, provides some geographic balance. The reality is at the legislative level, we're outnumbered. And so it's a lot easier to see Midwest priorities reflected in foreign policy, whereas we have now a counterbalance in the administration to help develop that in a way that's a little more fair and a little more respective of the geographic disparity and the cultural and agricultural practices that are different around the country.
That's Representative Rick Crawford from the 1st District of Arkansas. You can catch his full interview on our website at talkbusiness.net. That is all for today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.